I will say when they cross the line is when they started touching kids, you know?
Hey everybody, welcome. I caught myself another awesome human being. I'm so excited today. So before we move on, remember, like, subscribe, comment. You're really helping this channel grow, and it means actually the world to me. And I really just see all your beautiful comments, and there's so much less hate, it seems like. It seems like you're all understanding what we're all trying to do here. So this afternoon, I have been trying to get this person forever, but our total paths have been so crazy, but this morning I finally got her on. And Laura, she's a male to female transsexual human being who's beautiful and amazing. And so I don't know much about Laura other than the fact that we've been sort of conversing and laughing and making fun of a lot of things. But so that's why I'm going to have Laura introduce herself, and then we can move on from there. So good morning, Laura. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Buck. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm actually happy to see you. So you're so beautiful and amazing looking also.
Thank you.
So I just want to put that there. So why don't you tell us all about yourself?
My name is Laura Stevens, Laura Mae Stevens. I actually took my disclaimer for the middle name. That's my mom's middle name. So,
Beautiful.
and she asked me, "What's your middle name going to be?" And I was just like, "Can I take yours?"
Oh,
and yeah,
that's beautiful.
It definitely made her cry. Yeah.
So your mom's cool with your transition?
Absolutely.
Well, then there's that.
No. She is. It's funny that you say that. So I came out years back, right? And it was funny because I was hanging out with a few friends it was like 2:00 in the morning when I got home, and she was staying with me. Disclaimer: she was staying with me, and I was like, you know what? I need to tell her. This is the time. I got this good buzz going on. I have this, what's the word called?
Like just feeling good.
Just feeling good, strength. I was just like, ambitious.
Yeah.
Like I was just wanting to tell her, if I don't tell her now, because it was already going to happen. It was the second time I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Again, this was years back. And I was just like, Mom, wake up. I need to tell you something. She wakes up and I just told her, I'm like, Mom, I'm trans. And she had to like get the sleep out of her eye.
Yeah, because she was sleeping. She's like, what?
Yeah, and she's just like, are you drunk? I'm like, I'm a little buzzed now, but I need to tell you this. It's very important. Yeah. She's like, so you want to be a woman? And we had this like 2-hour conversation. I began to tell her and everything like that. And she's like, I always knew. And yeah. And I was just like, how? She's like, you were just different from your brothers and from the other boys and everything like that. All your friends were girls. There was the cliches, I was, and the saying, a mother always knows.
That's true.
It's very true. And mind you, I grew up in a very Pentecostal, Christian, conservative household because of my father, And my father's not in my life. I haven't talked to him in years now since he started seeing the effects and everything like that.
He couldn't handle it?
He couldn't handle it. No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, my mom knew, and she she's been very accepting. She's a rock, actually.
Wow.
Love you, Mom.
I mean, thank you. No, I love you, Mom, too. That's what I want people to see out there,
Yeah.
It's that love and respect from your family that really takes you to the next level. When you don't have that, that's what I'm seeing a lot, like families who don't connect with their trans, So how old were you when you told your mom that?
So,
do you mind me asking?
No. So I'm actually 31 now, by the way.
Okay. Great.
So,
you look amazing.
Thank you. It's those fountain of youth hormones.
It's true.
and surgeries. I've had 6 surgeries now. 7? 6?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it? That's not a lot. Some of my women friends have had like 200.
Yeah, right? I'm actually getting 2 more done soon. So
Right on. Right on.
But yeah, no, she it's gotten to the point now where she'll send me, clothes. Not she won't send me clothes. She'll send me pictures, and she's like, "Hey, I saw this in the store. Do you like this?" I'm like, I do, Mom, but that's not really me. And I'm
That's
like,
not my style.
yeah, if you put some theory on, the brand theory, I'm like, and
Of
then
course.
yeah, put a turtleneck on it, and then yeah, that. Um, so
No, but
I mean,
her intentions. Her
yeah. Oh my
intentions.
God, yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's just been awesome. She's been a rock. She'll post,
Amazing.
for Daughter's Day. Yeah, it's very sweet. She's very sweet.
I mean, really tell your mom she's amazing, and it really means a lot to me to see parents who step up to the plate.
Yeah.
So tell me about your family. You grew up Pentecostal.
Yes.
You have how many siblings do you have?
So I have my younger brother, who's from my dad and my mom, and then my half brother, older brother, who's just from my dad.
Okay.
And not a big family really, but that's just it.
Okay.
So
2 brothers. So you have 2 brothers.
yes,
And did you grow up around them?
yes, yes, I did.
And
Not so much the older one, but here and there, yeah, I did.
The younger one, yeah.
Yes.
And so, how are they? How are they with your
They-
transition?
So my younger brother, he's a little comedian. When I say little, he's like 28 now, and he's huge, buff, and like big macho dude, very masculine man. And but when I came out years ago to him, my mom was there, and this was after I told my mom. This was months after, but he came to visit me and everything, and his wife as well. The kids, they were all asleep, and I sat them down and I told them, and he cried, right? And it wasn't because I thought it wasn't the reason like what we all think, like, oh wow, he's upset, that
Right.
his brother, is
Yeah.
turning into what is, it wasn't that, it was the fact that, get this, I went my whole life. I mean, I'm only 31, but at the time I was in my 20s, but still to us, that's been a long period of time. I've gone that whole time without having anyone there to help me. That's why he was crying. And I started crying. Yeah, I started crying. I grabbed him and I hugged him, and his wife was there. She was crying, and because it wasn't a sad thing. It was a sad thing, but you know what I mean? It was a
Of course.
sweet, kind thing. Like, wow, I did not expect this. And he even said it. He was just like, you got to live with this your whole life. And
Wow, that actually makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
That brings tears to my eyes.
Oh, but
No, because I feel it. The way you're explaining it, I feel your brother's love for you. He cares, and the fact that he saw you as taking this, life changing space, and he so cares and loves you because he saw that the loneliness he feels on some level. That just is such a beautiful story, and it says a lot about your family.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Your dad, he's having problems, I think, many reasons, but possibly because of, religion too. Sometimes, right, plays a part in teaching us which I don't believe is true Christianity. I think Jesus loves us all.
And that's how my mom thinks. She challenged a lot of the church a lot of the time. She would believe in nuances, and like she would
That's right.
be like, well, that's not what the scripture says, and everything like that. Now, for me personally, I'm not really a Christian. I'm more spiritual, I guess. But
Me too. Me too.
I would call myself a Christian now. So, but yeah,
No, me neither. Yeah. Yeah. But that's okay. You know what? It's all good. Like, whatever we need to do here, like, we're not, that's all good. I just see this, when I see fundamental, which is what I think, very conservative Pentecostal, that becomes the problem when it becomes very sort of this ideology, right?
Yes.
Which now leads me into the trans space.
Right.
I see very similarities to these very sort of fundamental religions to what's happening in the trans, right, community. What age were you when you started to transition?
So 26,
26.
27.
You were an adult. You were an adult.
Oh yeah. I was 27 when I actually started taking the hormones, and then right after was surgeries. soon
Tell
after.
me about how you started. Tell me about how you started to. What was your initial space getting starting the hormones? What did you do?
What did I do? I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Can you the
yeah. So
space?
what? Oh, so I'm sorry. So what? I'm sorry.
The space you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, so no, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, what I mean is the system. So for me, the system meant I had to go to a therapist for 2 years, and I had
Okay,
to get a
okay.
letter, then I had to go to an endocrinologist. So I'm sorry, yeah, yeah. So what was it? How did you start to transition? Did you
So
actually go to a therapist or yeah?
yeah, so back in I would say 2013, 2014.
Hmm.
That's when I was first diagnosed.
So you got a diagnosis.
Yes, and then fast forward because I was trying to because I was so scared because I was afraid of losing my family, my close friends at the time. And by the way, this I wasn't in DC at the time. I was in Northwest Indiana. This was
Oh,
years back. Yeah, before
oh yeah,
yeah,
super.
yeah, before it was
Hmm.
cool to be trans. Uh,
Yes, yes,
and before the agenda started taking place more.
that's right.
So, but yeah, I was trying to like hide it as best as I could, and I was scared a lot of time. I mean, I went through depressions. There was just so much chaoticness to it. But yeah, fast forward to I would say 2018,
Hmm.
2017, diagnosis happened, and then I got my hormones within I would say a few more months after that,
Hmm.
and then it took like a year and a half, 2 years, just be approved for surgeries.
So right, okay. I mean, and also you're 26 or 27 when you're doing
Yeah.
all of this.
Hmm.
So you get my point. I'm looking at you as a person who's making your own choices. You
Right.
transitioned as an adult. You knew exactly what you were getting into. You actually went to a therapist and actually got a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, and you took the steps, which, as
Yes.
you know, and anybody who knows me,
Twice.
that's how I. That's how I mean, that's what I advocate for. I advocate for these steps, which I think are so
Hmm.
really, on some level, a safety net. They're not gatekeeping, they're a
Me too.
safety net.
No.
Right on.
Yep.
Have you ever thought you made a mistake with your transition?
Absolutely not. This was actually, I tell people this all the time. This was the best decision I ever made. For me, is the healthiest one, and this is coming from somebody that did everything possible to try to live with it first, the gender
Yes.
dysphoria and everything like that. I really tried based on how the way I lived, back then, years and years and years ago. I did tell uh, two friends I had actually back in, I would say it was 2015, 2014, 2015. And no, I lie. It was 2014. It doesn't matter. But and they were both like, I knew it. I'm just like, how? How do you know it? And they're like, well, you know, we knew you weren't gay because, and I'm quoting them. They're like, because you were
Yeah.
slaying too much women. Um, and uh, but then we were like, we would see how just certain things, and we were like,
Yeah.
okay, he at the time has got to be bi at least. So turns out, yeah, I am bi. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, uh, it was. I never
So
regretted it.
nobody, yeah. So none of your all your so we have similar stories. All my friends were like, "Duh." I mean the gay women I was around were very because I transitioned 30 years ago, and the gay women were not happy about it because that was my sort of community. But people who were outside of that community were like, "Duh, of course you are." They didn't really push back. So I have a very similar experience. People can feel it, and they know that about you, and you do have that energy. It feels like. So you got a diagnosis of gender dysphoria.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Okay, excellent. So then, what? So tell me what happened after that. You started taking hormones.
I did. Estrogen, spironolactone for the testosterone blockers,
Hmm.
and Yeah, I would say it was about a year and a half after that where I started getting approved for surgeries and everything like that. Close to 2 years, the 2 year
Okay,
mark. So,
right.
but yeah,
So 2 years until you got on hormones. I see. So here's the question. I think I asked you before we lost our connection, but I want to ask again. So have you ever felt like you made the wrong choice?
absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
Well,
In fact, I tell people all the time, if anything for me, this was the best decision I did.
mhm.
Um, yeah, the healthiest one. Because like I said, I did everything previously to stop it based on how I was raised and everything like that. I was trying the most healthiest way possible, trying to like contain it, maybe like the dysphoria and like, you know, keep her away, for lack of a better words, like
Yeah.
keep her in the closet.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't working. And, it got to a point when I realized, okay, I'm either going to be my true self and accept me,
Mhm.
or something dark is going to happen because I couldn't take it any longer. So,
Yeah.
and also there's the scientific stuff regarding it, like it's
Yes.
better to transition, like I would say in your 20s. This is me personally, but
Sure.
as far as like the scientific stuff goes, it's better to transition while you're young, like me.
Hmm.
Because I think it's the 30. I think Blair White talked about this long ago. Like the 30-year mark, like when you're 30 years old as a
Yes.
trans woman, at least,
Yes.
it's harder to say do
Hmm.
certain things. So yeah. Uh,
Right. And that's why I think a lot of times they're talking about these puberty blockers for children,
oh god.
because I think the puberty blockers come into play for this more physical aspects of transition. So they don't want these kids growing up having masculine or feminine features, and
Right.
why the block. So I understand what you're saying. It's like the younger you transition, especially for, I think it's different for male to female than
Mm-hmm.
female to male. I think,
Fair. Yeah.
look at, I mean, I don't necessarily have to have a lot of surgeries to look masculine, right? I just take testosterone. The only surgery I've had is my chest, but I grow a beard and I put on some muscle and I look like a dude, right? I think it's
Right.
different, the opposite. So,
Yeah,
so
we
I
have to
think
do a lot of work.
that's right. Yeah, I'm very aware of that, and I'm very compassionate towards that. But
Mm-hmm.
that being said, what do you think about puberty blockers as a transsexual woman?
Lupron.
Oh,
So I'm trying to filter myself, or I think
you
it's
don't need
horrendous,
to.
to be honest. If I don't
Thank
need
you.
to.
Nope, you do
No,
not need to
okay.
filter yourself here. This is an honest, true
Okay,
conversation that we're having. If people don't like it, then they
okay.
can turn the channel. So,
Yeah, yeah, you can fuck off. Sorry.
pretty much.
I try not to cuss. No promises.
I don't care. I love it. It's hot.
Um, but no, I think that there's definitely an agenda going on too, because, and this goes not just for the kids, but for the adults too. Um, I will say when they cross the line is when they start touching kids.
It's
I
so sick.
it is sick. I think there is something sinister about it. The rate of, because like when I came out, when I started transition, I came in like the cusp of all this.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry if I offend people on here. I know your views, Buck, but
You're not offending anybody. And if people get offended, like I just said, they can turn the channel. This is an
right.
open dialogue. I'm giving you the space here, my friend, not to feel like you can't say stuff, because
Yeah,
I'm tired of it.
yeah, I'm tired.
Whether or not me and you disagree, that's not why we're doing this. We're doing this to show the
Right,
diversity of our community, and we're allowed to have these
right.
opinions, especially as a transsexual woman. You are
Mm-hmm.
allowed to have this, and in fact, it says a lot about you as not only a transsexual woman, but as a community community person. It means you care. I'm tired of people shutting us down because we don't believe children should transition. I think it's important for people to hear our side of the story and why me and you who transitioned and it saved our lives, why we believe that children shouldn't. That's right.
We know.
So please don't feel that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be a medical person my whole life, you know?
That's right.
That's right. Because of everything I've done, you know, even if I say I go off of estrogen, you know, because I do know a few trans sisters that have, you know, they'll do it for a certain amount of time, like say 5 to 10 years, and then they'll stop or whatever. But I'll still have to, you know, take other supplements because of all the stuff that I've had, you know. Now, me, I don't know for sure if I'm going to ever stop taking my estrogen. I don't know that. But and testosterone blockers, I don't know. We'll see in, you know, another 5 years. But yeah, I know what it's like. You know, I know the dangers. And also, you know, there's such thing as called bone density, healthiness,
really?
You know.
Sexual health, orgasms.
And I was just about to say orgasm, sexual health. Okay. And I'm, you know, I'm sex positive, you know, I'm all about, you know, hey, be free, that's you know, you know, be able to accept yourself, you know, and these kids, I feel like we're robbing them of that opportunity. And, you know, we're not listening to, say, detransitioners as well. Like, for instance, Chloe, I forget her last name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Of course, she's really out there championing.
She is phenomenal, a great human being. Yeah. And she's brave to do what she's doing, speaking out, you know, and even a lot of the other detransitioners, you know, that's talking about this, you know, and this was before it was cool. You know, there's a narrative that they are pushing now where, you know, trans is, you know, they're transing the gay away from kids.
I know. I believe I'm on the same path as you. There's something sinister, it feels like to me. Why would they do that to a kid? You know, you're not saving a kid's life. You're putting them into a regimen of medication. And then when I hear it's people from our community, oh, they're not giving children surgery. I've actually seen 13 and 14-year-old young people getting top surgery. That's
Me too.
Surgery.
Me too. That's surgery. You're literally cutting in and you're taking hysterectomies, everything. You're taking all of this stuff and you're pumping them full of hormones. Okay. When they need to experience the puberty process, you know, it is better to transition later. Transitioning is a adult space. Okay, this is for adults, and I truly believe this. This is science, okay? And it's funny, we used to be all about science and our society, and now we're not for some reason in biology.
Weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
So crazy. That's so weird. But yeah, I definitely think it's sinister. I think it has to do with big pharma as well.
Right.
You know, the sinister part. You know, if you say being unfiltered, you know, it's funny how they say that we're conspiracy theorists, but now all the stuff with the, you know, the vaccine came out now and all of this. I hate to say I told you so, but whatever.
Well, people don't want to listen, you know that, and also people just get on it. You know, I really feel like people don't do research anymore.
No,
they basically latch on to one person, right? And then they just hear everything from that one person, and they're getting all their news, everything. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, a huge problem. That you're not. I actually follow all kinds of people.
Me too.
People who hate me, people, because I do want to get a more nuanced understanding.
Yeah,
of
nuance.
What's happening. That's right. You
Nuance.
can't just be one-sided.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for your voice to be here, Laura, because you're giving us another side of an actual trans woman, transsexual woman experience.
Thank you, Pug. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, when I look at the sinister part, I think of, like, you know, for instance, the vaccine, the trans movement of children. I think it's all kind of a way to help, obviously, big pharma and to line their pockets, because, like, I'm a $1.5 million person, you know, like we all are that are trans, you know,
That's right.
and those kids each, I don't quote me, I think it's 1.5 million.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it's still, regardless, if I'm off by a bit, it's still.
I don't care if it's $100,000 person.
Yeah.
The fact that a price tag is now connected to trans people, because it is.
It is.
Anybody who denies that, literally, again, I'll say it, you have your head in the sand.
Yeah, they're ludicrous.
You can actually prove it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, all of these WPATH, all of these trans organizations are getting boatloads of money thrown at them. And pharmaceutical companies are attached to this. Yep. All of them.
They are becoming, they are growing in numbers. You know, not just the trans, but I mean these trans right activists. You know, and these doctors, they're growing their wealth more and more by doing all of this. And it is very sick, and it's disturbing because I also think it's, you know, going in line with the vaccine and this, I think it's also about population reduction. If I'm being honest with you, I think there's. I really do.
Looked into that too. It actually freaks me out when you say that, because you know it doesn't not much freaks me out, to be honest with you.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. It takes a lot to freak me out, but those kind of things that you just said, all of it is so futuristic or so sci-fi movie.
Yep, dystopian.
So that would never. Right, dystopian. That would never happen, right?
Yeah.
That's impossible. They would never transition little children.
Yep. Because
it's
because they're sterilizing them, you know?
That's right. That's right, friend.
I cannot naturally have kids anymore, you know? So now thankfully I knew this coming into my transition. I froze my sperm.
Oh, wow. Right on.
And a lot of trans sisters did not do that. But some have. I know a couple that have. But the ones that did, they were like, wow, Laura, that's smart. Why didn't I do that? I'm like, I have no idea, girl.
Yeah.
But
well, you didn't think about it. I don't think the doctors tell. You know, I didn't do that either. I am a dad. I have a son, but he's not my biological son.
Okay.
But that being said, I didn't think about it either.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was the last thing on my mind. I just wanted to look like a dude. Oh, take it all off of me. Get it out.
Right. Right. And though I was the same way, I always wanted a family one day. You know, I'm very traditional, actually.
Excellent.
Besides being a tranny, and.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
it means you're an awesome woman.
Thank you.
It means you're an awesome woman. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm a family man too.
Yeah.
I'm a family man.
I believe in the nuclear family. I believe in having kids, having a wife, a husband, whatever, and spending your life and growing your community. And and I just think right now it's not that anymore. Trans is not. No. I call myself old school tranny. A lot of the time.
That's why I love you. I love you.
I do. And people laugh at that. And then some people are like, they're so offended by that word tranny or she-male. She-male can be.
I know
can be a little much. I agree. But like when people are so political and everything like that, it's weird, right?
When people, but it's your choice.
It's my choice.
The other thing.
It's my.
That's right. Of course, I feel the same about she-male because it's being used in porn.
Yes, thank you.
Same with tranny.
Yeah.
And so it feels very much a porno word.
Yes.
Tranny doesn't feel like a porno word to me. It feels more like it's community.
Yeah.
It came from our community.
It did.
Sort of being. Yeah, that's right. So it's a different word than she-male.
Exactly. But the reason why I say it sometimes is kind of I don't know if you'll understand this, but in spite of like the wokeness, when people are like, no, you're a woman, you're a biological. I'm like, no, fucker, I'm a fucking she-male, okay? A tranny.
Excellent.
Excellent. My friends in Bangkok call themselves ladyboys, okay?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I'm sorry.
And we're allowed to.
But I'm not going to actually call myself that. It's only in spite because they want to, ignore biology, ignore, certain things.
Well, that's our pushback because, I use the word tranny. I have it on my hat everywhere. I do that for a reason, too. the same as you do. I don't walk around calling myself a tranny,
Right.
but what I do is say, no, it's my choice to use that word.
Yes.
And the community can't tell us how to speak.
No.
And now we're actually being told how to live our lives
Yep.
as trans people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You need to believe in this narrative and this ludicrous thing. If you don't abide by these rules, then you're not part. I'm like, most certainly I am, fucker. So
I mean, remember the whole point of us transitioning was to look like men and women.
Yes.
That's why I think we resonate. Our group of transsexual people, we don't want to belong to this nonsense. We just want to be productive people. You got yourself together. You transition. You're a success in life with your business, everything you do in life. You're a success because you found that space passing as a woman.
yes, and people don't like. I don't want to go off too topic with this part, but I'm sorry. But, I've had conversations. I was on this double date with a few friends not that long ago. And this gay guy that my friend brought, which I didn't know that much, but he was, he's found out that I'm trans. And that's a good thing, by the way. If you don't know if somebody's trans, and that means it's working, right? But
Right. That's
once he found out, during the conversation over dinner, he started talking about all this woke stuff. And I'm just sitting there going, and he was just like, and the word passing, I just think that is so horrendous. He's one of those fabulous gay guys. And I was just like, okay. And he keeps talking about it. And just, he talked about trans species and everything, all this weird. And I was just like, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, everything you just said, I completely disagree with. Everything. I'm completely in denial about everything. I don't support it. I am completely against it, actually. So I do believe in passing. As a transsexual woman, I believe in that. Because like, I don't know if you saw I know we follow each other on Instagram, but I don't know if you saw my post. Mark did a video of it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, how it said, you've been sharing your bathroom with trans people your entire life. But then I put my own commentary in there. You need a pass if you're going to enter spaces. I do not believe in infiltrating women's spaces, sports. And I think these, if I'm being honest, I don't think a lot of these trans athletes, I don't think that there are actual like trans women. You don't see trans men doing this, by the way. I've noticed that.
That's
you
right.
see trans women, and I'm going to do this because
Yeah.
they don't pass. They don't do anything to conform. They're giants.
That's right.
They're okay.
That's right.
Like, and it doesn't matter if you're a petite little thing, but it kind of helps. I'm pretty sure if most people saw trans women like as saw the short, petite looking thing, it would help maybe a little bit, like like their minds. But even then, we're still stronger than biological females. Okay, there's a difference to biology, science, and everything. And I don't know what's wrong with believing in that. I don't.
I don't either.
I don't.
Well, I do. I have my own theory, and that theory is the reason why they want to take biology off the table is for these reasons. So these reasons say that a trans woman is a woman because biology isn't real.
No.
So that's why they're doing it. So they're trying to say that you were never born biologically male.
Right.
You were always a female, which is totally insane and untrue. Because why are you transitioning if you were born female?
Thank you. Yeah, that's the whole point of being trans. Otherwise, take out trans then. Motherfucker.
I mean, I'm sorry I'm laughing because I find it to be so... Are we actually having this conversation?
I know. All of these conversations, all of them. I'm just thinking like, I can't believe we're actually having this conversation right now. Like, of...
It's throwing us back, Laura.
It's
throwing us back a million years. People hate us more than ever. And as an old school tranny, I've never felt so much disconnect and also so much hatred towards us. Like we're a bunch of wingnut. And that's why your presence here this afternoon is so important because you are standing up for yourself. This is about standing up for our rights as people who want to blend in. I want to blend in.
I don't want to take away from... I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt.
No, no, you didn't. You
No,
go right ahead. It's
I
about
don't
you.
want to
Yeah.
infringe on people's spaces. Like, I don't want to take away from society. I don't want to change. The whole reason why we transition is to be a part of society and walk among them,
That's right.
you know, and be part of the community. And, you know, that was it. We wanted to, you know, get done with that transition and then, you know, move on. That's what we wanted to do.
Thank you.
And live simple, good lives, you know, be success, run businesses, work, do whatever, you know, start families.
That's right. Beautiful.
Yeah. And,
Beautiful, Laura.
thank you. And now it's just this, like, you know, I think the kids was the last straw, I think, for me. But I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot too, if I'm being honest, because we didn't stop, I think, back in 2014, 2015. So because like all of this conversation that we're having now wasn't conversations we were having back in, say, 2014, 2015, like non-binary.
That's right.
The gender fluid, where one day you're a girl, one day you're a guy. And then, you know, like I've actually, living in DC, I've witnessed this, you know, the memes that we see. I've actually witnessed the memes. Like, holy shit, I have. I've seen a dude walk into the bathroom with hair on his chest. Buff dude, okay, could kill all of us in that bathroom probably. We would all have to join forces to take him down. But beard, huge 5 o'clock shadow with a horrendous, disgusting wig that he got at like Party City or something.
Party City.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. This is the truth.
No, you're not sorry. Don't be sorry, please.
But I see this stuff, and I'm just like, and I've wanted, you know, I've seen the girls' faces in the bathrooms. They'll be like washing their hands, and they'll look over at me, and they'll look at other girls, and they're just like, they can't say anything. They're just, and I feel so bad. I'm like, because now what we're doing is like punishing them when they don't feel comfortable.
That's right.
I don't feel comfortable seeing that. I don't feel comfortable seeing that.
See, thank you, Laura, thank you. They're a transsexual woman. She doesn't feel comfortable with it. So is anybody saying that?
No.
You don't feel comfortable. People like you, Blair, you know, people who are about passing and about living. You all say the same thing as trans women. You are not comfortable. And that person is taking advantage of the trans space because these wingnuts in this trans activism have opened the door for anyone to be trans. My mom could say she's trans tomorrow and no one could say anything about, right? My dad. My brother. Like anyone. And what you're saying, oh my God, it's so absurd that we let people like that in a toilet. That's why we need to have a mirror toilet. Gender nonconforming. Go do your thing, buddy. I don't really care. Okay. I don't really care.
Leave us alone, okay? I had to, you know.
That's right.
And I was, you know, base lesbian? Yeah, Cara,
totally.
Cara and Lee.
Yep.
So we've actually, and that's why I love this social media networking and everything like that. Because like, and gays against groomers, trans against groomers, because we're all meeting each other and we're all like, you know, we're not alone. You know, there's other LGBT, and I'm going to stop at the T. That sorry,
right on.
But that believe in the same thing, and like, you know, she said something not that long ago to me, which really kind of touched my heart. Because we were having this kind of conversation, and she's like, you know, we used to think that, we used to know, we were getting to a point in society, forgive me, that trans was rare, but a beautiful thing, and and just in a very nuanced kind of way. It was, but y'all were beautiful. We knew that what y'all were gonna do. There was very few of you, but we were understanding it more and more. This was back, we were talking about in 2014. That was the peak when in 2015, when people, maybe 2016, when people were like, you know, kind of like how they did with LGB. They were like welcoming, they were like, you know what, y'all are rare. Y'all are going, you know, they understood the concept. Like, listen, I'm a biological male. I am transitioning from this to a female, but I understand my biology, but I'm going to get these surgeries. I'm going to look and be this. I'm going to change my gender and my name legally and stuff like that, and it was understood. It was basic. And now
That's right.
you got all of these men invading women's spaces. I'm going to call them men. I'm sorry. I'm not. They're not trans women to me. Like I said,
That's your right. As a transsexual woman, it's your right to say what you're saying.
and you,
It's affecting it. Well, let me ask you real quick here, Laura. Is it affecting your space? Do those people affect your space as a transsexual woman?
it is tremendously. Because like I said, you know, like when people have these conversations with me, sometimes, not always, but sometimes I've experienced, you know, discomfort because they'll be like, wow, what does she think? What does she, you know, do? You know, because like you get all these pedophiles, you get all these weirdos, you get all these rapists, you get all of these using the trans woman label.
That's right.
And
that's right.
It's very disturbing for me because I don't want to be associated with that. I'm not any of this stuff, you know? And
no, that's why it's so, again, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm repeating myself, why your story is so important.
Thank you.
Do you see a lot of us? Do you see a lot of us in this conversation?
More and more though.
More and more, we're stepping up, but nowhere near. I can tell you that I don't get asked to speak on any. I'm a liberal, and I don't get asked to speak on.
I'm an independent. I'm more like.
I'm moving towards that. I'm moving towards it. You're pulling me, dude. You're pulling me there, Laura. You're pulling
because
me.
It's like you said earlier. They're the ones that, you know, more on the right and in the middle, libertarians, you know, independents. They're the ones that's wanting to have the conversation with actual transsexual people and LGBT. Right. And the left doesn't want to hear a nuanced conversation anymore, you know. Tulsi Gabbard, actually, you know, you saw what she did, and it's.
Of course I did. You don't think that means something? That is huge. That's rare. You know, that's very rare. And that says everything about what's happening, the political climate, the lies, the stealing, the cheating on this woke side. They're lying. The minute you take science off the table and you
lose people, and also when you touch kids, when you touch that arena, people are gonna go. I'm going off because when I heard about this, like it was actually like a little over a year ago when I started seeing the trans thing for kids and it was just LGBT period. I'm like, why is this in schools? I don't even want straight stuff in schools. Like anything sexual.
That's right.
You're supposed to be teaching my daughter or son math, science, history, biology, stuff like biology.
Not about blowjobs.
Yeah, not about blowjobs.
Oh my God, they're teaching like 8th graders about blowjobs. Now, that being said, as a person who has worked in the sex industry and still continues to work in it in a more way that's not film but more making products. That being said, I'm very pro-sex and I'm very pro-sex education. But at certain ages, not only that, you need to just teach basic sex, sex, and that is biology. So if you're taking biology off the table, you're teaching our kids something that has nothing to do with actual real sexual space. Kids need to know about their penises and their vaginas and how you have a baby, and those are basic sexual things. And then, you know, they can move on, but they don't need to be learning about rimming and blowjobs.
Gay sex.
I'm like, this is in 8th grade? Can you imagine?
I know, and I've seen the books, you know. I've seen them here. God. I've seen them in person. I'm just like, what the actual fuck? DC had their first Pride since 2019, this year, and I went with my friend Ray, and she's a lesbian, and it was a pretty cool place. You know, it was downtown. You know, you saw the Capitol and everything like that because I live here, and so it's something normal for me. But they had it in a cool area finally, and we were just, you know, talking to everybody, and then you notice it's dudes doing this. It's not females doing this, but. These 4 dudes with a map flag. What? I mean, luckily I saw a few people started yelling at them. What? But I just stared at them. I was just like, how dare you? How dare you?
You know, nope, I'm not. No, I mean, I'm old, so I'm 60, right? Wow. I grew up in an older generation of gays where it used to be called NAMBLA, which is the National Association of Man-Boy Love, which is group, and they tried to attach to the LGBT. I remember back in the day, and we were like, "Go
Yep.
fuck yourself, get away
Fuck
from us."
off.
People already think we're a bunch of
Yep.
perverts. So it's literally coming full circle, and they're doing it again by just trying to change some weird. I mean, wow, no, we cannot have that stuff attached to our community. We fought against it for years and years. This is an adult community. It's an adult. Oh.
Yep, and it's very disturbing. It's very
disturbing. There is no way, Laura, that this can be happening at such a fast rate if pharmaceutical companies weren't behind it, which they're billions of dollars.
Billions.
There's no way anything this absurd,
in this time, fast pace.
In this time. That's right. That's why there's no way. And the mistake these people made, they're so arrogant, these trans, whatever they are, they're arrogant. And they literally are throwing it in our faces. We're going to transition little kids now. They're literally throwing it in our face like, if we don't do it, you're a transphobe. They're so smart on some level and how they...
I give them props because they know how to play the game. I'm like, good job. You know how to do this. You're evil as fuck. And I'm after you too. Me and my... gays against groomers, trans against groomers, we're all, and the moms, because they have a mom group, I think, mom army.
That's right.
All of us, we're growing in numbers. Our allies, the regular normal people are not for any of this stuff. I don't believe that. I don't. Yeah,
they're not. That's what scares me, Laura. The fact that there's so many of us who are so not okay with this, yet somehow the powers that be have so much power that we're not making a dent. But no, that being said, we are making a dent. I do believe we are now. But it got so they were behind like some armored door, and every time I try to say anything, I got nailed on Instagram, Twitter, all of it. They shut my voice down.
And you're a big name in the trans community. And
I mean, I've been doing this shit for fucking ever.
you're the one of the forefathers.
I'm the OG of the trans dudes, and that's why I stay here, Laura. It is why I stay here. I could be off with retirement, and I could be enjoying my beautiful family and not being stuck, but I have to. I actually have to do this because people like you and the younger generation, I just believe that we have to come together. And my older vision with your newer vision can actually help bring back some sanity to our. And I care about these kids. I'm not letting go until we stop transitioning.
Me too. But somebody actually DM'd me not that long ago. They're like, "Can you please stop posting all of this? It's getting old." I'm like, I'll stop once we have kids stop transitioning. Once we have kids stop being touched. Once we have not normalized. Or how do we say it so it won't be blocked?
What maps? Don't say maps. No, don't worry. I'll just beep it. Everyone will know what you're talking about because don't worry about it. But that being said, the fact that someone wrote you that, because I get those things all the time. Can you just stop? You're being transphobic. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, well, why don't you stop then? When you stop, I'll
exactly.
Stop. So why am I the only one that has to stop? No. Fuck you. You stop putting out misinformation, and I'll stop coming back and putting real information. Why is my information... Right, they're acting as if our information is misinformation, and their information is the correct, when we can blow holes in all their shit. But you see how they come at us and tell us to shut up?
I actually know doctors, too, that thank me. I won't shout out their names, but I know I've had conversations with them, and they can't say anything because now they have been given guidance to affirm everything. Affirm. Why?
The fact we live in America, Laura. We live in America. This is a democracy. That's what we thrive on. We thrive on that. That's the reason we have this country, which I love, by the way.
I love our country.
And I will not move, and I will not shut up. We have an awesome country. Of course, there's this and that, but I've lived out of this country. I've lived in other countries. I have a lot to understand why I come back here. I come back here every time because it does give me the freedom to do these things. And you will not shut mine or Laura or any other person's voice down because you don't like it. That's not the way it works.
I'm not sorry, but non-binary is not trans. It's not trans. It's not.
It's not trans. It's actually not
gender fluid
trans.
is not trans. The 97,000 is not trans. Um, I'm sorry.
The neo
Yeah, Neo,
pronouns. That no,
fuck
you don't need
off.
to.
What the? I'm not gonna call you a Zer. I'm not. You're not gonna.
I mean, yeah, that's your trip. That's right. That's what's so interesting because I remember back in the day, you have a fetish, which again, that's your private sexual space or whatever is going on. You don't go around blasting that you like running around in a tiger outfit and getting plugged up the ass. Now it's like literally like normalized. I'm like, no, that's an actual like personal
Yeah,
space that should be kept in your own
yeah,
personal
yeah,
space.
yeah. It's the furries.
I mean, wow.
Um,
The furries freak me out because that came from a sexual space. That literally came from
yeah,
sexual,
yeah,
like, fetish. It did. I was around many of those people back in the day. And now kids are like, we're furries. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
whoa,
It's
this is so
disturbing. It is.
weird.
It's very disturbing.
Oh, I hate it.
And it's
I hate it.
I've actually been in arguments with close
It's
friends
wrong.
about this stuff too, and it's hurtful. Because
I'm
like,
sure.
I actually told a close friend of mine not that long ago, very recently. I was just like, I think that when people say, including you, I love you, I really do love you, but I think when you say that you're for trans, you're more for an ideology because you're not, because if you were for trans, this is a transsexual. Okay? What you're telling me is what we're talking about, this is not trans. Okay, this is not what we believe in. And I know a few trans people that are actual trans that that's not part of our Discord or whatever, but they're kind of quiet. They don't really speak out or anything because they're afraid, for one. And they don't think this stuff. Normal trans people don't abide by this narrative of non-binary, they, them, and Zer, and it's we used to be called it.
I know, and that was not by
No,
our
it
own
wasn't.
self. So I'm going to say that someone might say, well, you use tranny, and that nope, we created that word. It's ours. We did not call ourselves it. We've never called ourselves it. In fact, we've always been very against that.
It is whatever. I'm just like clown self,
Gross.
and all of this.
Gross. Clown self. Clown self. Really? That's helping
This
our
is not.
community people?
Yeah,
Come
get
on.
off of me right now. Fuck off.
I mean, yeah, but this is the mental illness I
Yeah.
want people to see, and they need to stop saying that we don't have. Trans is related to
Yes,
your
I have
mental
a
state
diagnosis.
of being. It is a mental disorder.
Yes,
That's
I'm a
right.
medicalized person. Okay, there is something in my brain that doesn't align with my body. Whether it happened in the womb or whatever. That it is about science based. Okay, and we don't deny our biology. I don't deny that. I'm okay. So I don't like it when people. I'm going to go off just a little bit. I don't like it when people say that we're just as strong as other men, trans women, because I'm not anymore. I'm not. But
No,
I'm
you're not. I
I'm
know you're
stronger
not. I know you're
than
not.
most women.
But you're stronger than most
women.
biological women.
And that's okay to
That's
live in
right.
that middle space.
You are.
There's nothing wrong with the truth.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But you got to remember also these trans women did have an advantage on some level because we don't even know what their hormone intake is. We don't know exactly what's going on. Of course, taking estrogen has weakened you. There's no doubt about it. Taking testosterone has made me stronger. We're just the opposites, right? But I'm nowhere near as strong as a majority of biological men out there. And there's no way I'm as strong as a biological man who's training for an Olympic event, right? I'm not. But switch that narrative, and you, as a trans woman who's training for some event, might become stronger, or probably are already stronger than a biological woman. What's wrong with saying that?
Sorry.
Do you, what? No, I'm sorry. I'm asking what's wrong with saying that, Laura? Why is that transphobic?
I would ask you that, Buck. I don't know what's transphobic about that. I think it's a totally logical, common sense talking point or conversation. I think it's normal to understand biology. I think it's fine. I'm not offended that I'm who I am. I'm very proud of being a trans woman, actually. I love what I've become, what I've done since I've transitioned. I've become a better person than before. You know, when I look back, it's just like, wow, I'm so glad I did this, you know? And it's okay to acknowledge the realism that what is, you know? Does that make sense? Did I say that?
I agree.
Okay.
Oh my God, no. Everything that's coming out of your mouth makes sense to me, and it will make sense to many people. This is what they
Yeah.
want to hear. They want to hear realness. They don't want to hear fake nonsense. Oh, I'm so happy. And then next year you're like detransitioning because you weren't
Right.
really happy, but you were too
Right.
scared to say,
And
yeah,
that's something I did want to tell
go
you is
on.
that, you know, they're transing everybody, transing the gay away, transing all of this stuff. It's just like you don't have to. It's in order to accept me, you don't have to make everybody trans, fucker. Like,
That's right.
please, like, you know, most of these kids, they'll grow up to be gay and lesbian and bisexual people, or just or just be straight people, and you know, because like lots of kids, you know, grow up with dysphoria of some sort, body dysmorphia, you know, gender dysmorphia, but they grow out of it. You know, it's just like, and even the adults, like I
That's
said
right.
earlier, it's just like, not everybody has to be trans. We just wanted acceptance. That's all. You're doing too much.
That's all we ever wanted. Oh,
Yeah.
because they're lying. And people aren't stupid. Don't think people are. They're not. They're actually not stupid. What happened was that these people were smart, which we said earlier. Who's ever creating the trans activism created a whole system. They started
Right.
years ago, and they started putting these little words into place, and they started, they started
Yeah.
planting seeds until eventually now you can't say anything because you're
Yep.
transphobic. That was
Yeah.
brilliant marketing.
Brilliant marketing.
So now it's a way to shut the conversation down immediately. And then people get all weird because they're like, oh, I don't want to be
Yeah.
transphobic, right? So it's so obvious what
Yeah.
happened. And it took me and you and our group of trans people like
Yeah.
us to step up. That's why it's so important. We're
No.
like, nope, you're not trans. I say it all the time. You're not
I say that
transphobic.
too. I say that, and
That's
it's funny
not
because
true.
I've been called transphobic.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I
Me
know.
too.
I'm just like, motherfucker, I am trans, dumbass bitch.
I
It
know. It's,
it's so absurd.
it's
I just can't.
absurd.
I don't understand that. I'm like, this is what trans looks like, okay? And yeah,
Right
and I don't like the talking points of like, unless you're LGBT, you have no opinion, or yeah, bullshit, or
That's
like
bullshit
unless you're a
too.
woman, you have no opinion,
Yep.
like man hating and stuff like that. Like all of this.
Oh God, the hate. Yeah, also I did start seeing the hate towards women. And you know what? I'm a
Yeah.
biological female. Lived half my life in a female space, and I won't look back. I will not turn my back on
Right.
that ever. I just know how hard it is to be a woman, and you do too on some level. It's so
Yeah.
before we go here, can you just leave a little message of, what you would like for people to see from you and why you're here?
God, that's a loaded question.
Well, yeah, it is kind of. But I mean, I guess just leave a message of, I guess really,
Yeah.
we all know why you're here, but I guess leave a message of what you want people to sort of,
Uh,
see. That's
yeah,
happening.
just really everything we talked about. Like I said, I think we could go on forever. Me and you, and
We could. We could. Well, how can people find you? How can people find you?
not on Twitter
Are you
yet.
on Twitter?
I'm sure you've seen in the group chat. Yeah.
Instagram.
I need to get Twitter. I do need to get
Yep.
Twitter.
Yep. I'm gonna actually make you on Twitter. Daddy's gonna drag you over there.
Y'all can find me actually on Instagram. It's Laura Mays World, Maes World. So, but yeah,
Excellent.
thank you so much, Buck. So
so
you,
beautiful.
if you guys can't find me, just look under Buck's followers. So
Yeah. No, I'll
Okay.
post it under the thing when in the description of the thing. So people, please give Laura a lot of love. It takes a lot for us to stand up and say this. I don't know if you all understand that, but it takes a lot for us to be here because we get nailed. We get nailed
Yeah.
by these crazies, but we're not stopping. So to the crazies out there, we're not stopping. And to the people out there who hear us, we appreciate you listening to us, reaching out to us, giving us love, and understanding we're doing this for a reason. Not that we're not anti-trans. We want everybody to trans who needs to do it. What we don't want is people to trans when they should have never done it before. So that's the message. Like, subscribe, comment, do all those awesome things you guys keep doing to raise my channel, and I'll keep bringing on these beautiful guests. Thank you, Laura. You're such a beautiful being. It just makes my heart swell.
Thank you.